Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Jen with the Budget Bounce. In this video, we're going to be talking about how March went. It was officially our second month on a budget, so let's get into it.
All right, guys, so let's just jump right into it here. Here you can see for the month of March our totals that we budgeted. Now I'm starting with the budgeted numbers this time with the totals instead of the details because March was such an exceptionally unusual month. We had a very large tax return come in, which we did not expect to get. It was actually over $5,000. Actually, I think we netted about 5,400 after Matt's tax bill and the tax prep fees that we had to pay. So let's just jump into where we thought we were going to be versus, and then I'll show you where we ended up. So we expected our total income to be $7,421 and our total expenses to be $7,132. That's a difference of $288, and I will talk about why that's not zero in a little bit here. So then when you look at the breakdown of our income, we expected about 7,000 in regular income and then another 400 in additional income. And we'll talk about those details. And then here are the totals for each category of expenses, which makes up our $7,132. So let's just jump on over and take a look now at the actuals. Here you can see our actual numbers were much higher because of that federal tax return that came in. So we actually ended up having total income of $13,310 and total expenses of $12,876, leaving us with a surplus of $433. Again, I will talk about that surplus and why it's not zero, since Dave Ramsey does he promotes that you do a zero-based budget every month. I'll talk about why that's not zero before we end the video. So I'm going to jump over to the details. So here you can see our income category, and this is our extra income here. You can see we had the $5,890 federal tax return come in. This was on my tax return. Matt and I have to file separately for a number of reasons. And so we do two separate tax preparations every year. I always get a refund and Matt always gets a tax bill. You see there's a carryover from February. We had quite a bit left over in February, and it was our first month and I was afraid to spend it. I was afraid, what if I need it? I was really in the mode of what if I need it for an emergency or something. So I'm having trouble getting past that. But the bottom line is we expected 7,400 to come in and we ended up with over 13,300, and you can see that's a huge difference in what we expected. I have for years had a Capital One 360 savings account long before I ever joined the debt-free community, and we reestablished following Dave's baby steps. And I have forever been putting $5 a week into it. And it was kind of like a little emergency fund for us, but obviously it's only a couple $100 going in a year. And it's saved us a couple of different times, especially with car repairs. So while we have our $1,000 emergency fund, I haven't stopped that $5 from going in at this point in time. Here in our housing, you can see we have we pretty much hit it right on the head. We were $1.13 under actually for the month. We have our mortgage, our gas and electric for the house, and then our water, garbage, sewer, which gets paid, as you can see, every January, April, July, and October. So that'll show up in the April budget. Then we have our internet, and I put mobile devices in here because they seem to be such an integral part of our home. And so, I didn't really know where else to put them, quite honestly. All right, so here we have the transportation category, and you can see here we had our standard items budgeted for the month, and we actually went over in gas a little bit by $57. The first month we didn't use $600 worth of gas, so I decided to use $600 in our second month budget for March, and then it ended up not being enough. So we're still trying to get that all figured out, but $57 was the difference this month. The Traverse was, of course, right on. The payment is the same every month. Here you can see where we use some of our federal tax return. We actually decided to go ahead and pay off the Trailblazer. And so, yeah, that is $215 a month that we don't have to pay anymore. And we are really excited about that. I talk a little bit about the decisions that we made in regard to our federal tax return. Actually, I called Dave Ramsey and talked to him on his show about it. So that was actually really exciting. And he only spent not even, I don't think, 2 minutes with me, but I was really surprised to hear what he had to say about it. And I actually will go ahead and link the video. I'll put it here in a card up in the corner. And I'll also link the video that I did on this down below so that you can find it anytime. So anyhow, he actually, because of our circumstances with Matt not working for the last few months, Dave recommended that we not use our federal tax refund for any debt at all, but to instead set it all aside into our emergency fund. And I was so surprised by that, but actually afterwards, I know I've heard him say that to other people, and he suggested that we put it all into the emergency fund. Now, I did not do that. He wanted us to stop the debt snowball and put everything into the emergency fund. I did stop the debt snowball, I thought. And then as I thought about what I ended up doing, clearly I did not stop the debt snowball. So, what I ended up doing was I paid off 4 different accounts. And the reason why I did that was so that we would have more money each month to start paying minimums on things that we're not paying minimums on. That was one thing that Dave said that we need to do, is to get caught up as far as just getting minimums paid on everything. And I'll show you later where we're at with that. So anyhow, so this is the category. We went over by $1,600, but that's because we ended up paying off the Trailblazer for the most part. So the food category, we actually came in just a little bit over for the month. And yeah, that was Matt went grocery shopping, and he told me about how he was going to shop this sale and how much he thought he was going to spend. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. What he was going to spend was about $10 under what we had in the budget. And so I figured even if he went over a little bit, we were fine. We were coming up towards the end of the month, and it was really okay because we had money left over in dining at that point. And so we had some cushion there. We could, if we needed to go run to the store, we had money that we could pull since we hadn't used up all of our dining line yet. But yeah, Matt ended up blowing that out of the water. He spent twice as much as what he told me he was going to spend, and came home with a whole bunch of things that we didn't need. And so this is definitely an area, food is definitely an area that, first of all, we struggle with personally. Matt and I, we are emotional eaters, so we like to eat, you know, yummy things that aren't necessarily good for us. And second of all, you know, those things are expensive, and you know, we need to get control over how we shop. I mean, really, for if I'm being honest, we are not good at it at all. You know, meal planning and or menu planning, whatever you want to call it, and putting together a shopping list. And yes, shopping the ad, because that's what he did so that he could get Fuel Saver. And let me just say, by shopping the ad, he got enough in Fuel Saver rewards that we were just short of getting 20 gallons of gas for free. So what they do is you buy certain items, and they say, if you buy this, we'll give you 10 cents towards your Fuel Saver. And 10 cents means 10 cents per gallon off. So if you went and put in 5 gallons, you would get 10 cents off per gallon. So you can do that for up to 20 gallons. So anyhow, when it was all said and done, we had almost $2 in fuel saver, which gas is about $2.49 or $2.59 here right now. So not so bad. So moving down to insurance, this is so boring. This is just medical, dental, vision, life. I've got a short-term disability policy. My company pays for long-term for me, but then we have a couple other critical illness and accident insurance down here. So this is all in here. Our flexible spending's in here, and it's $875.20 a month. Moving down to entertainment, here is where we have, cable, Hulu, Netflix. So the only reason we have cable, it's actually DirecTV. It's not cable. The only reason we have it is because my husband gets such a huge discount on it because he works for AT&T. So yeah, so we have it for now. But Hulu, Netflix, the gym, we do have a gym membership for Matt that he's had forever at a local, just right here in the neighborhood. And then we have this ink program. So we ended up getting a credit because the month before something went wrong with the printer and our ink got way overcharged. So we got a credit, so we were under there. Matt ended up playing poker and did not have money in Owen's Place, which is his side gig, to do that. So he pulled $60 out that I didn't expect. So we were over by $43 in this category this month. No health expenses, thank goodness. We still have plenty of FSA money, so we are using that until we run out. The extras. So the extras were impacted by the federal tax return. So first of all, this is for the newspaper, and so that is normal. And then Ascend Financials is that software that I really need to slow down and I need to cancel that subscription. But you see a bunch of different things here. Okay, so the budget bounce, I ended up doing some things. I think I spent $49 I didn't plan on because I think there was something that renewed that I didn't know it was going to renew that I have to fix. So anyhow, I bought some tools and things like that from Amazon and some online tools. And so, yeah, obviously I wasn't planning on spending anything, but I had the money, so I went ahead and did that. Sam's Club, we took advantage of doing a run. It was literally, I didn't get any groceries. It was all household stuff for, like paper products and laundry products and things like that. There was a little bit of expense for Owen's Place. This was the last $10 for Henry's braces. We thought insurance was going to finish it out, but by the time when it maxed out, there was $10 left. So here we are. And then Amazon, over the course of the month, we spent $400, and this was on a number of things. Several things were for our granddaughter, Nikayla, and other things like Henry had some books that he wanted to get and that kind of thing. So I stocked up on our air fresheners and things like that, crock pot liners, really exciting things. So anyhow, H&R Block, this was our tax prep fees. So we expected it to be $180 a piece, and we ended up getting a discount. So it was a total of $305. And then you can see here, I spent some money at DaveRamsey.com. So a couple of things. I purchased a couple of books. I got the Total Money Makeover, and I got Rachel Cruz's, it's the Love Your Life, Not Theirs. I think that's what it's called. Her new book. I got that. And I haven't read either one of them yet. I read the Total Money Makeover years ago, and I actually also bought the audiobooks. So that now it's on my phone, and I've been listening to it again when I get ready in the morning for work. So that's been really refreshing to hear that. I love that Dave reads it himself. So that's what the 60 almost $64 was. The $119, I did go ahead and sign up for Financial Peace University and the online version so that I could go through that. And I'm hoping that Matt will do that as well. And the other thing that I purchased that was part of the $63.96 was the live streaming of the April 25th Smart Conference event, or Smart Money, I can't remember what it's called, that is in Louisville, that they are going to be streaming live. So I'm going to have difficulty getting home in time to get it started because we have a vendor in from work that whole week. But Matt, Henry, and I are all going to watch that night from home together and talk about things that night. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's just in a couple of weeks, actually. That night. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's just in a couple of weeks, actually. So you can see we went way over what we planned, $835. But again, that was primarily due to the extra money that we had from the income tax. So here's the really exciting part, the debt section. Normally I'm not excited about this, but this ended up being really fantastic. You can see we paid off 3 different things. These are all credit cards. Best Buy, this is the one that had a 12-month no interest, but of course, if you didn't get it paid off, then you were going to end up having to pay all the interest that would have accrued over the time, the whole 12 months. So we got that one paid off. I paid off 2 of the smaller credit cards as well. These were both Visas, I think. And so got those paid off. So again, another $50 here and then another $50 here. So that's $100 on top of the $215 that we no longer have to pay to the Trailblazer. And then the other thing that happened this month is the IRS bill that we've been paying for 2014. We started paying on it in June of 2015. Matt we made the last payment. It's an auto withdrawal that they do. And yeah, the last little bit came out this month. So actually that's another $100. So we have $415 freed up in April that we no longer have to pay. So our April, there's a lot less zeros down here. We're working on that. But anyhow, so everything else was pretty much kind of on target. I paid, you can see, I planned $10, but I paid $12.86. When I do that, those are medical bills where we don't have any interest, and I just want to get them to an even number. So I just paid whatever it took to get to the next $5. So we did start paying my mom and dad again. I get paid twice a month, and so we send them $50 out of each of my checks. And so got that started again in March. So our total ended up being we were over our planned amount of $1,004 by $2,660, almost $67. So that's all because of the federal tax return. When we go to envelopes, you can see here where, again, if you recall last month, the way that I do this is I have some actual electronic envelopes, and then I have some things that are a pass-through through the checking account. Those are the ones that say checking, and those that say cash are real cash envelopes that I keep in the house. So we don't do very many of those just because we function better at this point in time using our debit cards for everything. But we will be evaluating that once this all stabilizes and we can figure out what our norm is. We've had so much extra money coming in, which has been such a blessing, but like nothing's normal. Once we get that squared away, I think with our May budget, we'll be able to see what it's really going to be like, and then we can look into possibly doing cash for some other things. So anyhow, we budgeted $703, and I ended up putting $761 in there, and those were for. Looks like we were under a little bit on toiletries and miscellaneous. Here's where. Oh, it looks like I have poker in 2 places. Hey, I need to fix that. So yeah, I'll get that fixed. Anyhow, so $58 difference this month. And then here are our sinking funds. So I do have funds set up for each one of these things. And those that say USAA, those are electronic envelopes that we have set up with USAA accounts. And then you can see all of our Capital One 360 accounts. And then the last thing is life insurance for me. And there is money that goes over to that every single month. So anyhow, 224 is what I planned, but because of the federal tax return, I ended up putting some extra in here. The vehicles for sure, because we have a lot older vehicles that need some attention. And 325 isn't going to touch it, but when the time comes, we'll have some to get by with that. Travel, I went ahead and threw a couple $100 in that because Matt wants to travel back up to Chicago and do some more testing for the state of Illinois so that he can be eligible to interview for positions with the state. So that landed us with 525 over, again attributed to the federal tax return that we had. So to summarize, let's just circle back to the totals again. You can see that we were $433 under, and so we didn't do the zero-based budget again this month, and I told you I would tell you a little bit about that. So I'm really nervous to spend all of the money. I'm afraid to spend it, and it's because we have just been in such dire straits with vehicles and whatnot. All kinds of things have been coming up. Medical expenses, when the FSA runs out, we're going to need funds for that. So I honestly have not, I've been rolling it over to the next month so that I could have a little bit of a cushion, which is not helping us, really get down to business here. But again, what I'm trying to do right now is to identify what it is that we have coming in and going out and trying to figure out how to budget for each category every month. So I'm giving myself 3 or 4 months to do that. And then also, trying to hone those categories and rein in our spending so we can have more and more to pay on debt every month because Lord knows we have a lot of it. So I rolled this $433 over into our April budget, and we will plan on using that towards debt this month. So I'm excited to share with you how April goes because we have a lot more debt payments that are going out. And I spent several hours, I think 2 or 3 hours on the phone on Good Friday. We were closed that day. My company observes the holiday, and I spent, I think, 2.5 hours on the phone calling, places that have been charged off or are way late, like we haven't paid since last summer, and trying to set up payment plans and things like that. So I've got some of that done. I still have, I think, 6 or 7 accounts that I have to do that for, but after 2.5 hours, I was exhausted. So I just called it a day, and I just really have not had time. I did it on my day off because it takes a lot of time and energy to do that. It's very draining, and it's hard to have those conversations. And anyway, so I haven't done any more of those calls because I have been working 10 to 12 hours a day at work. So I just do not have time to do this. And I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to do that again soon because I do need to get these others squared away and start paying on them. So we're paying minimums on everything like Dave told us to. So with that, that's it for March, and I guess we'll see you guys next month.